Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the cEDH cast, Greedy Keeps. Today we are here with Rebel talking about five-color Sisay Storm Captain, which is a five-color ad nauseum deck. Rebel, do you want to introduce your master brew here?
I wouldn't say it's master. All I did was really take the five color Golos list and swapped of Sisay and added like three legends.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's fair.
some of them cantrip.
Yeah,
That's
and some of
true.
them is like anti-Adnos tech, so that's cool.
Yeah, one-sided hate pieces are like kind of cool.
Yeah,
So
that it definitely doesn't hurt.
yeah, so do you want to talk a little bit about like what kind of Sisay deck this is beyond just saying you copied the Golos list?
Oh yeah, so basically it uses Sisay as like a fallback strategy. So if your primary line of going for ad nauseum or Peer into the Abyss or Intuition is disrupted, you can always use the lands and the mana that you get to cast those things to power
Right.
Sisay's tutoring. So you have a
Mhm.
slightly better mid game, or like your grind game is a little bit better than like Golos,
Yeah.
but your hands then kind of suffer from that a little because it's not as easy to keep some of the hands.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
that makes
But
sense.
the Sisay also works better in like the late game just with Dockside alone, right? Because this is the version with the meal, I assume, right?
Actually, this doesn't run a
Oh,
meal at
this
all.
isn't the meal version. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Sisay is purely here for value.
yeah. One sick
Gotcha.
thing I realized. I mean, obviously I didn't invent this because it was already probably happening, but the fact that a Sisay can get Passaggio is sick. That's like
Yeah.
Oh,
that's really
So
spicy. Yeah.
hmm.
that's actually what put me onto this path is that
Okay.
if the idea is that we want to get like a Boseiju to cast an uncountable Adnos,
Mm-hmm.
so you could play like an early Sisay and then kind of sandbag a little, and then when it's ready, you
Yeah.
can just activate Sisay, get your Boseiju, and then Adnos.
Yeah, that's pretty
Gotcha.
sick. Especially like you can also just like kind of use her to ramp, which
Mm-hmm.
like is
Mm-hmm.
kind of bad, but at least it like helps you get to your peer. Like I could easily
Right.
imagine like, like a turn two Sisay, turn three of 5 mana, turn you go up to like six, then you play your land drop, you're at seven. Like that's not crazy. So
Totally.
kind of like that.
Yeah, and a lot of the legends I've added in here that you would tutor for, like even if you don't really tutor them and you just get them, they're generally useful for your ad nauseam strategy. So
Mm-hmm.
stuff like Kinnan or like Lavinia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lavinia notably it says like opponents, so that's
Yeah,
it's one of the powerful things is that it can like
Yeah.
disrupt their rituals or their early Moxen, which is like
Right.
pretty significant in the early game.
Yeah.
sorry, my
Asymmetrical
cat
hate's
is like
pretty strong.
screaming.
Yeah. All right. So let's get started and look at our first hand. It's a Silence, a Dockside Extortionist, a Lotus Petal, a Tundra, a Misstep, a Wooded Foothills, and a Thassa's Oracle. What do you think of this one?
Hmm.
So it's kind of hard. I actually might ship it, um, because like so we have our silence and we have that fastest oracle, and I always play an dockside as like four treasures in general.
Mm-hmm.
So like we could probably get like a turn to Sisay if we want, or a turn to dockside and kind of set
Sure.
up for some fetching, but that doesn't really do that much.
Mm-hmm.
So I would actually ship this one.
Yeah, I was actually thinking similarly. There's just one
Yeah.
one issue is to say is it isn't a very good like mana outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just like throw mana at it and win the game. So
Yeah, not this one. I think there are other lists out there that could do that better, but this one,
Right.
Sisay is purely there for value.
yeah, that
Gotcha.
makes sense. All right, so Felwar Stone. Well, I'm not gonna read this one. It's just lands. I mean, sorry, there's no lands.
We're so close.
Yeah, so
It's so close.
yeah, there's actually quite a bit of juice here. All right, so this is our six. It's a Diabolic Intent, a Keenan, an Ancient Tomb, an Imperial Seal, an Merchant Zone, and a Brain Freeze, and a Soul Ring.
Hurts.
No colored mana is really tough.
Yeah, that one. I'd probably ship this one.
Yeah. Now we're at five. Sabine's
Five.
Reclamation, Wooded Foothills, City of Brass, Arcane Signet, Jace Vryn's Prodigy, Emergent Zone. I think it's a five. Like this is good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would keep this one if we're down to like six or five. Like it's pretty good. Jace has some nice synergies, especially with
Mm-hmm.
Sabine's Reclamation. So
Yeah.
you could cast Savines for 3 and still get the copy because it's being cast from the graveyard when you flip
Totally.
trades.
Oh, that's sick. I was thinking more just discarding it for flashback, but yeah, that's really cool. All right.
So any as a 5 here, what do you put to the bottom? I definitely feel like Arcane Signet is one of them, and then maybe a second one of the 2 of the 3 lands.
Yeah, I might cut the Emergence Zone here. Just because colored mana is so important for Sisay,
Gotcha.
which is one of the weaknesses, I would say, of this list compared to Golos. So, like, Golos,
Yeah.
you don't really care, but here you kind of have to... You kind of want Wooburg.
Totally.
Just to have that option of, like, fixing. All right. Go to our 7. This is sick. Noble Hierarch, Enlightened Tutor, Scalding Tarn, Lotus Petal, Gamble, Wheel of Fortune, Cabal Ritual. I love this. What do you think?
Ian, what do you... I don't want to jump in yet. I want to hear what Ian says.
I don't... This hand's very aggro, right? Like, that's obviously... I don't know. I'm tempted to obviously, like, lead off with the Dork and the Petal, and then, like, maybe depending on what you grab with the Enlightened Tutor, have that on your upkeep for your second turn. I really don't know with that hand.
I do like that you can, like, Scalding Tarn, play Gamble, and then you either can, no matter what you get or discard, you can either Lotus Petal, unless you can discard if you discard the Lotus Petal, you might get a little messed up, but you can always just, like, Lotus Petal, play the Enlightened Tutor or the Noble Hierarch, which I really like the Enlightened Tutor just getting, like, a Mana Crypt or something, and then your Gamble can, like, get maybe, like, I don't know if it really even matters. Maybe, like, you know what, Gamble for Mana Crypt here, then go Lotus Petal, Wheel of Fortune seems pretty sick.
So I really like the Wheel of Fortune, but I'm actually trying to think of if we could do something like a Gamble for LED and then use the Enlightened Tutor for a Breach.
See, when I was seeing this hand, the Enlightened Tutor, the first thing that popped in my head was Breach, seeing the wheel in here, because we have Mana and Cabal Ritual, we have Lotus Petal, like, there's a lot of Breach stuff happening here.
That's fair. I just like popping off wheels with tons of mana. It's like it's very disruptive.
I mean, that's definitely, it's hard to do wrong when you're going for that. Especially having a Breach in your... Or I'm saying if you do go for Breach and wheel and you have the Cabal in your yard, that's pretty good after wheeling. So
yeah, I think I would go for the Breach line here, and if it's disrupted, I would just wheel everything away.
That's fair.
Yeah,
try again.
Yeah. So if it goes well, we wheel, and if it goes wrong, we wheel too.
All right. Marsh Flats, Tainted Pact, Scrubland, Exotic Orchard, Flusterstorm, Vampire Tutor, Volcanic Island. What do you think?
I tend to really like these hands just because I'm, like, super greedy with Tainted Pact. I really like pacting for, like, an Atmos or something.
Would you like Vampire Tutor for acceleration?
Yeah, I think that's what if that's what I want to do, I think I could do that. But you could also assemble, like, a lot of things with this, right? You don't have to go straight into Adnos.
Yeah, I mean, it is a turn 3 Thassa's Oracle. It's kind of medium, but...
It's 4, though, because it's Tainted Pact.
Ooh, you're right.
Yeah.
That was my thought. My thought was to be boring and play it safe. Just Drago until you can Thoracle. But I just seen way too many games pulled out from someone's feet just because they had Thoracle and Pact with, like, one tutor, So.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you don't really have protection for it, and it's real slow.
Yeah, we could also use the Vamp Tutor for a Mana Crypt and then Tainted Pact into, like, an Intuition. If, like, it depends how the pack goes.
Because with what you have in the yard and, a Breach popping off is pretty decent.
Yeah, you can also just, like, the Tainted Pact before your turn. Like, you just hold up the Tainted Pact and in Flusterstorm, and then...
Yeah. Oh, I love Instant Pact. Yeah.
This seems pretty sick.
Yeah. It's, like, it's super fair but good. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So new 7: Lavinia, Red Elemental Blast, Oath of Nissa, Diabolic Intent, Talisman of Resilience, Beseiju, and Demonic Consultation. This seems like a easy throwaway, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Tapped colorless land doesn't make mana.
This is definitely an interesting hand. It's a Talisman of Dominance, a Cascading Cataracts, which is a land that says pay 5 mana, add 5 mana of any color to your mana pool, so it's like a fixing land, and then it taps for colorless otherwise. There's a Rhystic Study, an Imperial Seal, a Bloodstained Mire, a Wheel of Fortune, and a Veil of Summer. I actually like this hand quite a bit.
Yeah, me too. The only worry here with this hand is if we're playing against a lot of other turbo decks, they might just beat us by the time we put down the Rhystic Study. Like this is
I
like
think it's a turn.
Rhystic Study.
Yeah, I think with a turn 2 Rhystic Study, you're fine.
Yeah.
I think it depends on turn order. If you go turn 1 Imperial Seal for Dockside, you might even be able to get to the Rhystic Study out with Veil of Summer up.
Yeah, that's smart.
So
I was thinking Mana Crypt.
My brain was going for Crypt.
You can get Badlands here, and then you're basically guaranteed.
Yeah. My other thought was the turn 1 Crypt into the turn 2 Wheel after dumping the Talisman too, which is like...
Yeah, I think the cool
thing
thing
depends on what your opponents are doing.
Yeah.
I think it depends really on how aggressive you want to be and how greedy you want to be. And I think in this deck, like, being greedy is good. The thing with playing the Dockside is it turns all your bounce spells into rituals. So, like, your Rhystic Study and Wheel are, like, much higher quality with the Dockside on the battlefield.
Right.
So, I think it's like it's almost like getting a Dockside is almost like setup, you know? It's like setting up a combo, which is, you know, just having shit tons of mana, while also putting out a Rhystic Study or a Wheel of Fortune. So,
I actually might go with the Wheel of Fortune then if we grab, like, a Dockside and we know we can cast both Wheel and also the Veil. Because then we're more likely to draw into our things faster as opposed to like a Rhystic Study.
That's true.
Also, I found that Wheel you can use politically a lot of the times. You know what I mean? If someone else leads up with a D-Tutor, you know, it's one of those things that's pretty easy to resolve in that circumstance.
Yeah,
it depends, obviously.
It really does depend. Like, you know, Rhystic Study is very similar too. Like, if there's another control deck at the table, they might be like, hey, this Rhystic Study is going to slow the game down, and that helps me. I'll just pop the Rhystic Study when I feel like I need to. I think in a lot of the games this deck's trying to, like, piggyback onto.
I'd argue that a lot more. I'd argue that a lot more pods would actively counter Rhystic Study than a Wheel of Fortune, but it depends.
Yeah, like, it really does depend. Like, for example, if I'm on Paco, like, I can just attack them until they die. You know? It's it really depends on what you're on. Or Winota.
Totally.
Winota's just like...
I was just about to say with Winota, I've done the exact same thing. Like, all right, you're dead.
Yeah, so... All right.
Brayden has killed me with Paco, like, a lot of times.
I have not killed someone with Paco in so long. I've been so busy on farm decks that it's, like, hard to find time to also play Paco.
Guess I'll have to
Too many good decks, you know. Yeah, please do. All right, first 7. Ooh, Brainstorm, lines that I'm in: Deathrite Shaman, Sabine's Reclamation, Command Tower, Besage, Mox Opal.
This one's really interesting. It's so close.
Yeah, and the fact that, like,
I don't like it.
That's fair.
If only the Besage was actually like a fetch land or something.
Yes,
that Sabine's would be a lot better.
I think
so. This deck reminds me a lot of play patterns with my Kazuru Kima deck, just because it's so aggressive in the slanting that, like, but the commander doesn't provide the innate card advantage until, like, way later in the game, and because of that, it's just like a hand like this where, like, if the top 3 cards of your deck are like land, mana, rock, like, you're just not doing anything this entire game.
It's true.
So. Yeah, that's sort of my, like, fear when I see this hand.
Yeah, I think if the Besage was a fetch land, you could, like, clear out your draws, play the Deathrite Shaman.
Totally.
Mox Opal, LED means, like, you're almost out of mana. It's pretty close. But I guess we're
and
throwing
also,
it
if it was a fetch land, we can use the Savines to, like, help get our Bluebird up, so that Sisay can start doing stuff. But too bad it's Besage.
All right.
Oh, it's so close though.
Diabolic Intent, Veil of Summer, Steam Vents, Ad Nauseam, Jace, Prince Prodigy, City of Breast Cromox. I like this hand a lot.
Yeah, it's a super dead Jace.
Yeah, that Jace is gonna die. It's gonna be bad.
So what do you pitch to Cromox there? Or is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so I don't really want to pitch the Veil, so, like, this one really depends on what we draw here. But if
that's fair.
Let's say we draw, like, another land, then I would pitch the Veil and actually play Jace on turn 1, so then we can eat the Jace to get, like, a Dockside or something.
Yeah. Do you? I guess you probably go off on turn 3. Yeah, you probably play.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I think maybe you're supposed to go turn 1 Jace, turn 2 Sisay, eat the Sisay, on turn 3 to Dockside. And then
That's
you're
yeah.
that
I
chasing
was
would-
also
Dig.
wondering that because Jace does feel like a valuable piece for the mana cost, you know, as compared to like
It just-
Sisay, which, as you said, you can just play it later when it's slow, anyways, right?
Yeah, it does dig.
Yeah,
Just-
so
So,
if
yeah.
the pod is a little less like it's a little grindier, and I'm afraid of like just casting a blind ad nos without protection, then I think that's a much better plan because Jace
Yeah.
also allows us to recur like an intent if we really want to, or like the ad nauseam itself.
Totally.
Yeah, we're really hoping to hit like
Totally.
a preordain or something off the top here because
Yeah.
that Veil of Summer and that Ad Nauseam together is absolutely absurd.
Yeah. So I feel like the difference there is if you're playing in Braden's meta, you go you sack that Chase, but if you're playing in my meta, you can play Sisay.
Even sacking the Jace is like kind of questionable on turn 2. It's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like really, really aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, fresh 7.
Sweet.
Ooh, pact. It's
Oh.
Pact Negation, Peer to the Abyss, Wooded Foothills, Polluted Delta, Thassa's Oracle, Plateaued, Underground Sea.
You can't.
Well, maybe if we play the Oracle on turn 2, we could scry into something.
Or
Yeah.
you could play the Oracle and then pact it, and that way you don't have to be in the game with this hand anymore.
That's
Now
actually
that-
the best.
now
You're
that's a
right.
spite
I didn't see
pact.
that one.
That is a spite pact. All right.
Of your own card, yeah, I guess.
Oh no.
Oh, that's a rough
Gamble, Soul Ring, Tainted Pact, and Leighton Tutor,
one.
Talisman,
No
You're
lands,
so
no
close.
lands, doesn't
Yeah.
matter, no lands.
Moss Diamond, Talisman. Gosh.
Oh, if that was a Chrome Mox, I'd keep it.
I want to
Yeah.
just risk it all so bad.
Braden, no.
I would
Alright.
actually keep this if nothing was on the line, just to hit that one way.
Yeah.
If you hit the land, then you can gamble for a land. It's perfect. And if you discard the land, you have enough mana to do other stuff. It's a foolproof plan.
Full proof.
Oh no, this is last week all over again.
Hey, last week we were right. We did the math. It was a 70% chance you got a turn 2 Dockside. That's pretty good. It was like 73%. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I refuse to say that that's not good. Now, this is our 6. Cascading Castarax, Red Elemental Blast, Demonic Tutor, Jace, Deathrite, Intuition, Command Tower.
This one's pretty good.
I like this. A lot of interaction, a lot of redundancy for tutors. You got a thick Jace. It's nice.
Thanks, I hate it. No, but yeah, this hand seems perfectly fine.
Yeah. All right. What do you bottom? Jace? Maybe Intuition? Maybe Demonic Tutor?
My
hard.
instinct is Jace.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because there's definitely a world where you just... I don't know, it depends. So, like, turn 2, you get to either A, tutor with Reb backup, which is great, or you get intuition, which is, like, also perfectly fine, and then, maybe you can catch somebody in the classic, give me a force of will, and I'll just entomb 2 permanents thing, which is
I do that.
classic intuition play.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, back when I was playing Breach in Dawnwaker, that was literally all I would ever do. Be like, oh no, here's my 2 free entombs, but also here's a force of will, I saved everybody.
All right. We will see our fresh 7. Oh, Noble Hierarch, Wishclaw Talisman, Chain of Vapor, Plateau,
That
Bird's
hurts.
Paradise, Brain Freeze, Ad Nauseam. Sometimes being 5 colors is hard.
Yeah.
1, 2,
So
3,
close.
4,
So
5. All 5 colors that are in this hand. Rough.
Now, I'm curious about Plateau just as an inclusion in the deck. What kind of brought that about?
I think it's just something that was left over from my last deck, so probably should cut it.
Gotcha.
It does cast Sisay and Dockside, which is like,
Yeah.
it's fine.
It
That's
does need to lean a little bit more to white just to cast Sisay sometimes, but
Sure,
like,
definitely.
in situations like this, I'd much rather cast my hand than ever cast
Yeah.
my commander.
Yeah, this is one of the problems I find with like the high colors, like Ad Nauseam decks, is they want to play dorks, but they
Yes.
also like don't.
Yeah,
So-
like sometimes if you're trying to explode out of the gates, like when we were talking about your Corvold deck earlier, Braden, I was like, the fact that it was only 3 colors like made the mana just very clean, and sometimes that can be the difference between getting there or not.
yeah,
But
for sure.
You never know.
All right, second set. Similar issues. Bayou, Mystical Tutor, Talisman, Demonic Tutor, Intuition, Fellwar Stone, Red Elemental Blast. There's like a... Yeah, this is not worth it. Throw it back?
It's like,
Yep, throw it
yeah.
back.
I mean, even if you get lucky, you're just like, great, I'll detutor.
Hey, if you hit a Mana Crypt off the top, it's spicy as hell. You're not going to hit
sure.
a Mana Crypt off the top, though, so...
Yeah.
All right, this seems like
Okay.
more reasonable. Verdant Catacombs, Bayou, Fellwar Stone, Breach, Tundra, Bird's Paradise, Snap.
So this is another one of those hands that I was talking about earlier with the Kazurikima comparison, where you're just not doing anything. So it makes me a little trepidatious just seeing it, just because, like, even if you do grab a Dockside and it's pretty crazy, like you can make a good amount of mana and then cast Sisay and Tutor once, maybe.
Yeah, I think this hand is like casting spells and that's about it. It's a 6, so it's kind of reasonable to throw it back for a good 5, but just remember we're at 6.
Yeah, I would still throw this one back.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, Jace, Necropotence, Bayou, Kinnan, Talisman of Indulgence, Cascading Cataracts, Chain of Vapor. This hand's actually kind of neat. It does have two. It does. If you top deck a land, you have enough mana for a turn 3 Necro plus like Jace, I guess. It's kind of nice.
That's pretty nice. Yeah. Now, I was going to ask about Cataracts in the deck. Is that another holdover from the last variant, or has it paid off enough in the late game?
In general, so I've never really used I've never actually really tutored with Sisay that often in this deck. Usually I just win through, better cards.
Yeah.
But Cascading Cataracts has been generally useful in most of the Sisay builds I've played, just because one of the things that Sisay, one of the unfortunate parts of Sisay is that she needs Wooburg, right? So that makes
Right.
your mana crypts and your mana vaults and stuff like that not very good in the deck.
Totally.
So I need so I actually like lands like these that allow me to use that mana for it.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Okay.
What do you bottom here?
We're bottoming 2, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of inclined to bottom Kinnan.
Yeah, me too.
Interesting. Kinnan does make your hand like more explosive.
But you can't even cast it.
Yeah, you're right. There's no blue mana here. Then I think
Yeah.
you bottom the Chain of Vapor and the Jace. If that's why it's not good, I think it's more likely you're going to hit something that, it is just a 2 mana rock, which is better than Chain of Vapor or Jace right now, right? If you hit
That's
a land.
true. But Jace also helps us filter, though, just in case that you don't really get the mana for the Necro.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
My inclination is to
Talisman,
put Chain and it to the bottom.
If the Talisman makes black, your Bayou lets you play Necropotence.
Yeah, but that's a scenario where we've drawn a land anyways, right?
Yeah, I just think that's we should play into our outs, and I don't think if we can't cast both blue spells in our hand unless we draw a blue source, right? And Kinnan, in the case where we do draw a blue source, lets us play a turn 3 Necro. That's better than the case where we play a turn 2 or turn 3 Jace, right?
You can't play turn 3 Necro.
Why?
Because you can't play Kinnan and Talisman the same turn.
You play Kinnan on turn 2, let's say. On turn 3, you have 3 lands. You'll play the Talisman. You'll tap the Talisman.
Sure.
And you tap 2 black.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess in that light, that's fair.
So I think you just bottom both the blue cards.
That makes sense.
That's tough.
Either way, you're either able to cast Jace or Kinnan. There's never going to be a situation where you can't cast.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
So I think Kinnan is just better than Jace in this deck. What if we hit an Arcane Signet, right? Kinnan's great in that case.
That's true. I think if Necropotence was a spell instead, maybe we'd more be inclined to keep Jace, but because the enchantment, he's not really doing much for this hand.
And I guess my first thought was what if we get Dockside, we can get the chain back, and then that doesn't make any sense either.
And if we get Dockside, we're really happy to have Kinnan.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all right, let's do one more.
Sure.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Dockside, Chrome Mox, Underworld Breach, Plateau, Snap, Gamble, Exotic Orchard. This hand is bananas.
Trash. Just get rid of it.
No, this hand's bananas. I love it. This hand is BNANANAS. Like, oh my god.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I love this.
It doesn't die to Magus of the Moon or Blood Moon, which is the bane of all Sisay decks.
That's hilarious to me.
Everything.
I think this is like, I think honestly, it's one of the reasons I don't like Blood Moon is if like you look at this hand, it's like you don't care at all. It does not matter to
So
you one
actually,
bit.
in one of the games for the 99, it didn't really air. Is that my deck was under a Blood Moon effect, and no one really got to play spells. But then someone windfalled me, and I had an LED in play, and I drew a Underworld Breach. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I'll just win that.
That's how that works, I guess. Wow. So yeah, and the crazy thing here is that people might not be seeing is that once you have an Underworld Breach in play, it doesn't matter what you do with Gamble. So that's something to think about here. Is the turn to Dockside into Breach into Gamble is like kind of insane, especially with Snap where it's mana neutral to bounce to the Dockside. This hand's nuts, right? Like, am I seeing things? Okay.
Oh, it seems pretty nuts.
I think it's very realistic in this hand that you won't play the Chrome Mox until turn 2 also. Because like none of these cards.
Yeah, because there's nothing good to pitch there. So
Yeah.
what was your instinct for turn 1?
Nothing.
Just land pass. Yeah.
Exotic Orchard pass.
Okay, cool. I had a similar thought.
And
so.
pray.
Pray your opponent's not on 3 Kazaru Gima decks. Yeah.
No, I just mean pray they don't cast like a wheel. Even if they do wheel, like if you hit a Sphinx Reclamation, it doesn't matter because then you just win.
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
You know how it is.
This is one of those hands. If you're playing in a weird pod where, for some reason you're not seeing a lot of Dockside, like obviously that's not the commonplace scenario. But if you're in that scenario, you can't keep this. On the other hand, if Dockside is a good card, which it is 99% of the time, turns out this hand is pretty wild.
I think this hand's like just wild in general. To be honest, like Gamble and Breach are nuts.
Yeah.
Like
that's fair.
Also, even if Snap Dockside isn't really giving us that much mana, I think like we don't have to try to go for the LED line. We can just gamble twice for Fish and Console.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair. Yeah. I was just gonna say Brain Freeze. That feels like I assume that's in here.
Yeah.
Am I correct in that? Yeah. Okay. Love that card.
All right, so that is the end of our Greedy Keeps for now.
Woo.
All right.
Hoo-hoo. I like that
What a
to
good
be
one to end on.
continued thing.
Yeah. I want to thank Moxfield. If you look up in the top left corner, that way,
Oh,
we're now
wow.
powered
Yikes.
powered by
Okay.
Moxfield. Harry was nice enough to make that for us. We've been using Moxfield for our game Greedy Keeps since the very beginning. Harry, one of the people behind Moxfield, is a patron, so we can pretend that we're sponsored by Moxfield.
Yeah.
Finally, been shilling Moxfield for some time.
Yeah. So if you are, seeing this deck and you're like, man, Cascading Cataracts, that card, I need to buy 17 foils of that card. You're like, I need to go to TCG Player right now and buy 17 foils of Cascading Cataracts. And you find yourself on the TCG Player website, please feel free to use our affiliate link. That'll be in the description down below. If that compulsion takes you over.
If you have,
And just mail one to me.
oh yeah, as a thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
All of a sudden, Rebel in like 2 weeks, just piles of Cascade Cataracts. Too many to play in any Sisay deck.
The next time you see me, my background is just like all.
It's just a
Cataracts.
tapestry.
It's like sheets. It's like sheets.
If you feel the compulsion to buy a tapestry's worth of Cascading Cataracts to send a Rebel, please support this channel.
I'll share
Alright.
some with you guys too.
Oh wow! Can we have a sheet of Cascading Cataracts? I love to imagine that's like an actually printed thing where they're like, "What's your favorite card from this set, Jim? Cascading Cataracts. Well, for being Employee of the Month this week, Wizards of the Coast has given you a full sheet of Cascading Cataracts. All right.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Rebel, for coming on and showing off your sick Sisay deck.
Thanks for having me. I feel big time now that I'm on green.
You are, you're up there with the Famgees and the Pongos of the world. Big celebrity type people.
I wouldn't put myself in the same tier. Like if there's a tier list for it, I think I'm a couple of
the
tiers,
cEDH community tier list. We can get working on that. Right, Ian?
Oh, please. I am not ready to start fights.
Oh, we're going. Where we're going, community drama has never been seen. This complicated.
Oh, Lord. Eject.
All right. Thanks for listening to an episode of Greedy Keeps. I hope you learned something today, and I hope you got an idea what it's like to play a 5-color Turbo Ad Nauseam deck. Thanks again, Rebel, for coming on. We really appreciate it.
And if you want, this deck was recently displayed on the 99's Brew Wars, so
oh
yeah,
yes,
check that out.
Rebel's like actually a celebrity. You were on the game nights of cEDH. That's what we're
for like a week, and then I'll like disappear next week.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
It's like a once a year kind of thing.
You're like, what is it? What's that movie with the clown?
It.
You're like it. Every 100 years or 10 years or however often it comes.
50, but yeah.
50? I've literally never seen it.
No, it's 25. 25?
I've never seen it, so I have no idea.
I don't know. They're kids in the first and they're adults in the second. That's all I know.
All right.
I mean, it's pretty accurate. I like snoop in the sewers and stuff like that, and I have like a very
Sisay.
Cascading cataract.
Dark side.
Oh no.
Come here, farm players. I have a dark side. Join me in the swamp. All right, thanks, guys. Have a nice one.